you know, there's a huge toll on the family as well as the child. You good at taking me? Putting a lot of pressure on me now, Harriet.
Does anyone know how the wish process works? Do you think it's staff that works with our wish kids? Do you think it's volunteers or any idea?
Could you explain to us a little bit?
Yeah, so to start the process, for a child to be referred to Make-A-Wish, it's through a medical professional, it's through the child themselves sometimes, or it's through a family member. The child has to be over 2.5 and under the age of 18, and essentially we work really closely with the medical team to make sure the child does qualify. Once they do, we need 2 volunteers to go into that child's home and to help them discover what their wish is. So really you're sitting down with the child and you're saying, if you could travel anywhere, where would you want to go? If you could meet someone, who would it be? And really listen to everything that they're envisioning. So our staff is the one that kind of plans things behind the scenes, but as a volunteer, you're staying in communication with the family and the child and building excitement, and I'm sure Sal and Harriet can speak to that, of what that experience feels like for them.
Yeah, so it is important, and something that I learned really quickly is that the child is referred to Make-A-Wish by a healthcare professional like their doctor or someone else in the facility like a social worker, right? So yeah, let me go over how I was exposed to Make-A-Wish and why I'm a volunteer wish granter and why I'm happy to start coming to events like this where we like to spread the word of Make-A-Wish. So when I was in grad school, a buddy of mine was on sort of like a junior board of Make-A-Wish, so he exposed me to the mission and also what his role was and how he was giving back. A couple years after grad school, one of my cousin's kids became sick and became a wish child. So to tell you a little bit about that, which is really where I learned how impactful Make-A-Wish could be on a sick child. So he got sick, he was 10 years old, and in the process of getting better, the doctors referred him to Make-A-Wish, and my cousin and her husband kept putting it off because they also thought it was, they had the misnomer. They thought it was, my kid isn't dying, so I'm not gonna have him in Make-A-Wish. Finally, the doctors got through to my cousin and explained that actually this is not for dying kids, this is for people with, kids with life-threatening illnesses. I think on the flyers it's critical. And it's part of the recovery process. So finally they said, okay, let's go through the referral. So a couple volunteers came over to the house. They spoke with the family, my cousins and my cousin's kid, Jalen. And then they took him outside the room and spoke to him on his own, and he told them that the most favorite thing in his life was Major League Soccer in Europe, and his favorite team was Arsenal, which is in England. And so his wish became going out to England, hanging out with the players, going to a game, and not only was it focused around the game, but he was focused, or the trip included other things in England. So they booked like a backstage trip to a museum, special tours, so it wasn't just the game. But the game obviously was the most impactful. They were treated like family of the organization, and that's something that money can't buy. You can't buy that kind of experience. It was something that organization really wanted to do for Jalen, and he was extremely excited. So you can understand that from the time Jalen said, oh, someone's coming over to the house to ask me what my wish is, he's excited about it. When the Make-A-Wish Foundation is planning out the wish, he's eager and anticipating when someone's gonna tell him his wish has been granted. And then the lead up to the trip, and then once you get home, the excitement of telling everybody about your trip. So, a lot of people, don't have the experience of seeing what it's like to have a kid who's sick. You can imagine that, like we were saying before, you kind of miss out on your childhood. Instead of school and vacations and having fun, you're thinking about a lot worse things. So this actually focuses the attention away, and the mission of Make-A-Wish is to inspire them. So having them look forward to this trip and all the planning gives them strength, and that's why the doctors and the medical community is now being able to prove it. They're proving that these kids become stronger, quicker, and are living longer lives after being a wish child.
And so we've heard about kids that are wishing to go somewhere, wishing to meet someone. Kids wish to have things like shopping sprees. They wish to be, I'm sure you guys all saw the child that wished to be Batman a few years back in California.
TV this morning.
Oh, was it?
You know what? How about my favorite?
That's where I'm going.
Talk about my favorite. I'm gonna marry him. I'm gonna marry him.
A little boy, Sebastian from Brooklyn, who was completely selfless in his wish, and he wished to give back to his community. So his wish was to help feed and clothe and provide warmth to people in his community that didn't necessarily have access to that. So on his wish day, we worked with the City of Hope, and he was able to serve oatmeal to everyone. He was very set on oatmeal, and he gave out fleece jackets to everyone, and that was Sebastian's wish. So, you know, you have children that are going to Dubai. We have Sebastian that's wishing to give back. We had a little boy recently who wished to have a shopping spree for snacks.
How about Joey, who wanted to go, that was one of the ones I had. He wanted to go to Disney World so the Hulk could say, "Hello, Joey." And when we went to him, to tell him he had his wish, he said, "Are you kidding me?" And he's 4 years old.
Yeah, the wishes, they run the gamut. It's always surprising when you hear what a child's wishing for, and a wish to Disney isn't just a wish to Disney, it's really specific to each child. It's about 50% of the wishes that we do. But to Harriet's point, if this child didn't get to meet the Hulk, it wouldn't have been his wish, even though he was at Disney.
Should somebody be Hoorah.
Yeah, hoorah! 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 Yes.
There's a number.
The hoorah is we are putting checks together here at Make-A-Wish. Yes, right. Yes. Oh, yes, we have an online page if you want to pass it on. Hoorah! 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 Hoorah!
And hoorahs.
Wait, hoorah! Hoorah!
Oh, I got another one for here.
Hoorah.
Hoorah!
Another
Hoorah!
hoorah. Hoorah.
Does anyone know how the Make-A-Wish Foundation was started, or where it was started, or what the first wish was?
No, that would be
No one
interesting.
knows?
No.
that the little boy who wanted to be a fireman or something?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Go ahead, I'm Miss Duncan. Hoorah! That's what I'm talking about.
So I guess it's like 40 years ago. I think it was in Arizona. There was a child, critical illness,
Yeah.
and his wish was he wanted to be a fireman for the day.
Yeah, so it was, he wanted to be a police officer, actually.
Hoorah!
7 years old at the time, his name was Chris Gracious, and he was diagnosed with leukemia. And in 1980, medicine wasn't as advanced as it was today, or is today. So Chris's prognosis wasn't so great, and all he wanted to do was be a police officer. So his mom was really advocating for him and rallied the community. So Chris was able to get his own uniform, he went out in a police car, and he was able to capture the bad guys for the day. And it just kind of sparked this movement across the country. So little chapters started popping up, and now we have 62 in the United States, and we also have some chapters in international countries as well. So.
And while you're at it, would you tell our group here who we are part of, the Brooklyn?
Yeah, that is exactly where I'm going, Harriet. So we are here today to talk about Brooklyn. Brooklyn is one of our highest need areas in terms of volunteers and resources. We have close to 300 children from Brooklyn who are currently in the process of receiving a wish. Last year, we had, guess how many volunteers? 66 from Brooklyn and 300 wish kids. And each wish child needs 2 volunteers.
That's correct.
So children in Brooklyn were waiting, on average, I'd say about 12 months or so. So they'd be told they're getting a wish. A year later, we'd finally have a volunteer team going to meet with that child. And a lot happens during that time frame. So So we realized it was something we needed to improve on, and we really needed to work on it.
Before we move forward, because I understand that Robin has to leave early, and she's the president of this group, I'd just like to acknowledge Robin, and also another group that I'm a member of, the Brooklyn Board of Realtors. Our outgoing president is here, he's over there, and I would like to thank them for coming on board. Our website is up, and our goal is $50,000, so please make mention of that.
You got it.
Oh, yes, yes. Why don't our president, because you all have to leave, go that way, please, so that I can get you all in this. This is going live on Facebook, so if you're known for bad things on Facebook, they gonna know where you are.
Everyone knows I do that.
Well, we are live on Facebook right now. Come on, come over this side, please. And our hoorah kid. Okay, there we are. So if anybody wants to do some photos there, especially for the
Yeah, I'll
Brooklyn
do it.
Board of Realtors page, I'd like to get one. Thank you.
You gonna do it, Madeline?
Wait, let me just do a few of them. Thank you.
Who? Okay. Yeah, you know what, Madeline?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you all, because they have to leave a little early, and I
And we
wanna-
thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Okay.
So I can say a little bit more about what it's like to be a volunteer wish granter. Once you're a volunteer wish granter, you can check the portal or check the emails that come across. And when you're ready for a new wish, you and your partner, you can scan the list and you can look at what neighborhoods the kids live in, how old they are, what's their first name, if they have a language,
Yeah.
a first language that's not English, and there's also the illness that they're battling. And you and your partner get to choose.
That's
And you guys are all in real estate. I have some experience in real estate, so sometimes I like to describe the wish process, akin to a deal,
Yeah.
right? Harry?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so you go out, you pick up a listing. Here, you're looking at the list and you're choosing the wish that you want to go out on. And you let the office know, and they assign you and your partner to that wish child. It's Kelsey was talking about how big the brand is and how much it's grown in the last 40 years. Now it's international. Now we're going to tell you about the leadership of Brooklyn, who really wants to support Make-A-Wish. But in the once you get assigned to the wish, your role is to be a liaison. And what I was thinking about mentioning just now was it's a great organization because there's a lot of volunteer organizations, a lot of nonprofits. Make-A-Wish is really proud of how much money of every dollar that is raised goes towards the wishes.
And how much is that?
I think it's
somewhere around 80%. I'm not in development, so I apologize.
But that's what they said the other night.
But it's
They
about
actually
80%
said it was
so
about
when you
80%.
compare that number to other volunteer organizations or other foundations, that number is really high. That means that 20 cents is towards maintaining the organization, having lawyers, having an office, etc. But 80% is going to the wishes. That number is extraordinary. I mean,
Another thing that I found out also, that it's not always about money. And we had, it's about in-kind donations.
Exactly.
And we had something like that this time, but we weren't able to push it forward. But if anybody's interested, there is a vacation online, in my mind right now in Florida. It's worth $2,500. And if anybody is wanting to bid maybe $2,000-3,000 for it, or it goes to Make-A-Wish. We were going to do a raffle, but the whole weather thing.
who donated that?
I'm going to get to that. I'm getting to that. Well, and she just spoke up. The lady to my right called me up and said, "Hey, listen," and it's 1 week in what a fabulous place. Okay, so anybody wanting to take a vacation before, right after Thanksgiving, please get in touch with me and write your check, and I'll gladly donate it
The
to.
specific
So who
dates.
donated it?
Oh,
Specific
excuse
date.
me, Miss Annette Fisher. The date is 11/29 through 12/6. And she has been trying, I mean, I've been going through a lot of crises. I don't always wear red all the time. Red is my better day because I can't break up when I'm wearing red. And she has been calling me back and forth, what can I do, what can I do? And she came up with that, but it was just the logistics for me didn't work. And then, of course, the weather came. But I would so love somebody to start telling me they want to start offering money on that one, okay?
How many people can they,
6 people. 6 people.
Not bad.
And it's a beautiful thing. I have it online.
It's on the beach,
Right.
there's a pool.
Sounds good, right?
So
about
you're going
Mhm.
there. I'm giving it for whoever will donate that money. I'm going there after that, but.
Right. But whoever will donate the money,
They
she's
can
giving
have
it up.
themselves in Daytona Beach.
Mhm.
There's also past
Place is
president
called
of
the
the Women's
Sea Breeze.
Council.
Yeah.
So we're talking about volunteer wish granting. That's one way to help. We're talking about in-kind donations where you donate something that could be converted into
Yes,
cash.
exactly,
There's-
exactly.
There's a few other ways that if you do want to get involved, if you do want to support, that we can tell you about.
Yeah, like I have a couple of people. I was being real good in taking yoga. I've kind of fell down on the job, but my yoga instructor and a couple of his friends, massage therapists and people like that, I put them in touch with Noreen, and there are a lot of people who've been calling me about that. So I just want to let you know, it's not always about money. Money is good now, don't get me wrong, keep on giving the money. But I've found that out in my efforts. And like I said, just wanted to put that out. And if you know anybody that wants that vacation, please.
I know where to find you.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it.
That's actually a really
And
good
she's also
program.
she was a president of our group a couple of years ago.
Did you have a question, ma'am?
I did.
Sorry.
So I go on the website and I say I want to be a partner, and I pick my partner and we pick a family.
Sure.
And so then what happens? We help them get this wish, but then after that, what? Then I disappear, or
No.
I pick another family,
Yeah.
or I continue with this family until this person.
Gets the wish.
No, I understand
Yeah,
about
yeah.
granting the wish, but after the wish, like what happens after that?
So first, to get started, there's an application and a background check that we have to go through just because you're working
And a
so closely
class.
with kids and families. But once you go through that and the training and you take on a wish child and a partner, you're really in communication with them on a regular basis, building this excitement for the wish and kind of forming a relationship with them. Once the wish is granted, that kind of gets into a tricky place of whether the family wants to stay in contact with the volunteer or not, so we kind of have to respect their wishes. But we do encourage you to take on another wish child and to begin that journey and help another child in Brooklyn as well.
Now to go back to the analogy of working a deal, obviously everyone works multiple deals at once. And because the wish process can take some months, maybe even longer, depending on
You have a longer
details.
period to be with
Right,
them.
so I'm on a wish right now where the kid is sick, so we're postponing when his wish is gonna be. There's another wish where she wants to make a music video, and the talent in LA is not gonna be available until a certain time, so that's gonna take some time. So we work different wishes at different times, and sometimes multiple ones, because you go visit the family, and then you're really just staying in touch with them, which takes very little time. Maybe you have a listing that's overpriced, you're just kind of making phone calls, there's not much to do. And then when it gets to the point where the office has gotten to the place of here's the wish, you can then decide how you're going to reveal the wish to the child. Sometimes you want to throw a party. you want to throw a party and reveal the wish that way. Or maybe it's just a phone call and you rather put your efforts towards enhancing the wish some other way. Like for trips, I think included in most trips is a limo ride
Yeah.
to the airport, which for a lot of kids is a huge, exciting part of the trip. But you as the volunteer, just like at the closing, you may come with a closing gift, like whatever you guys do, bottle of wine or something like that. You can enhance the wish. There is a budget from Make-A-Wish, the office, where you can, like, you know, so I volunteer in the Bronx, and a lot of times this is the first trip for the family. They don't have luggage, so we'll buy them, the whole family, a set of luggage. Or maybe they don't have a camera, so we'll get them a camera. You know, you'll know the family at that point. You'll think of a good way to enhance the wish, and you have that ability. You have that discretion and authority to pick a wish.
Right.
Sorry. To pick
Yeah,
a gift.
and the, oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And the other question is, how many listings have you handled at one time?
Me
Mhm.
personally.
I mean, the Wish Kids, that's what I'm saying.
How many wishes
Wish
am I
kids.
working on
Yeah.
actively?
Mm-hmm.
I think I have four right now.
And I
And what do
recently
you recommend?
It really depends on
Depends
each
on your
individual.
time.
I think
Okay.
it depends on your schedule, your work
Exactly.
schedule, your family schedule, what you have
Exactly.
going on. So we encourage everyone to take at least one wish a year. But if you're able to juggle more and you feel like you can really commit to that family, then we encourage that as well.
That's a really good part about this type of volunteering is that you can decide your capacity. You know, some years you might do a few. Some years you might do just one.
Uh-huh.
Some years you might say, you know what, I'm not going to pick up a wish, but I want to come and find other volunteers to help out. There's a whole bunch of ways to help out.
Yeah,
Right?
and I wish that I could get the projector to work. I'm having some difficulties, but there's this map here of Brooklyn, and I don't know if any of you can see that, but there's a whole bunch of red dots on here, and that means that's where all these kids live, and there are no volunteers there. So that was that about
Could you pass that around possibly?
Yeah, please, and I can email this to everyone too if we have access to
Yes.
that.
You want to read off the neighborhoods?
Yeah,
Is that
East
right?
New York, New Lots, Ocean Hill, and Williamsburg.
So those were our areas about a year ago where we had the highest need of volunteers. And so we decided that we had to go straight into the community to get leaders that kind of know where. Oh, we're good? Okay. So that's where Harriet comes in to this story.
Okay.
So we formed a Brooklyn Community Council, and it's made up of 8 members. We have someone from the NYPD, the FDNY. We have people in the healthcare profession, in a tech startup, and then we have Harriet in real estate. So the council is really to recruit volunteers, to engage them, to retain them, and to really get the word out there. And it's been so successful. We cannot thank you enough for this. We grew our volunteer pool here by 129% in 1 year. So
It was so successful that the council has been recognized.
nationally.
Yes,
National.
yes, the other night,
Nationally.
yeah.
Yeah. So we talked with our national office, Make-A-Wish America, about all this work that Harriet and the team has done. And at our conference in October, they were awarded the Diversity and Innovation Award. It's really been so impactful to these Wish kids in the community, and we're just looking forward to continuing all of the work that
Annette
we've
had a
done.
question. Annette had a question.
Can you pick a specific neighborhood that you want to concentrate on?
We can,
Yes.
absolutely.
Because in Brooklyn here, what I've done, I'm afraid, and that sounds crazy. There are kids who are nonverbal, and I had a couple of those come across my desk, and I was like, what the heck do I do? I mean, my eyes don't work. You know what I mean? So I couldn't figure out what I would do if I went to a nonverbal child. You have to communicate with the parent, but the parent is also communicating with the child nonverbally, and I'm not sure if I would be comfortable there, so I turned that assignment down. You know, so you get to turn an assignment down. After you've taken the training, they email you. Listen, help, we need blah, blah, blah. And they tell you the location, And are you available? And if you're available, you write back saying, or you pick up the phone and say, yes, I got this. And then they send you, which is private, you know, but they send you who the child is and stuff like that. And that's the other thing. You when you do that, you have to keep that to you. Like all the stuff we do with other things, you have to keep it to you. But it's been an experience for me because I had no idea I was capable. But I, you know, since I don't walk well and stuff, but that doesn't even count because with that little boy, I got on the floor. I don't know how the hell I got up, but I got on the floor. I got down. I had to slide off the couch, and then when the meeting was over, I said, "Now how do I get the hell up from here?" And I got up. You know, so you have strengths and you have. Yeah, you know, so you can do it. You really can. And you choose when you want to do it. It's not like somebody saying, you got to do this. You know, you choose it.
So after you get that paperwork as a volunteer, you learn a lot about the family. You
Exactly.
pick up the phone and you call the parents.
Exactly.
You learn a little bit more about the child. There's a budget from the office. You buy a small gift, an icebreaker gift, and then you go over to the house or the apartment. And you're there like an hour or maybe 2 hours, and you'll learn how the organization wants you to kind of build rapport and be able to elicit from the child what they like, what they're envisioning, how they're envisioning the wish, and you also have to deal with the delicate nature of making sure you understand the child's wish versus anyone else's wish in the room. It's really about what the child wants. It does take some skill, just like when you're on a listing appointment, it does take some skill to ask the right questions and get the right answers and be able to use that. And then after you're done with the meeting, you know, you know, some papers to sign for the family. You send it back to the office, and the office will tell you whether the paperwork is complete or not. And then the office really does a lot of the next steps of formulating the wish, what it could be, and then organizing it. And in that time, you're keeping in touch with the family. And every so often, there's another budget that you get, and you can mail them another gift, a thinking of you present. You know, it's something small just to keep the excitement up, like Kelsey was talking about, and make sure that the kids, because you know, it can take some time, to make sure that the kids know that you're thinking about them, you haven't forgotten them, and that you're formulating the wish. Because some wishes are intricate and maybe a little bit more sophisticated than others, so they take some time to be able to put together.
And then Harriet mentioned something about training. So is there some kind of formal training, and
Yes.
how long does that take?
So after you go through the application and the background check, we host a training. It's usually on a Saturday morning from about 8:30 to 1:30, 2 o'clock. And it's really just getting a chance to meet other volunteers, learning more about the process, and getting all of the tools and resources you need. So after that day, you make that decision of, okay, this is something I definitely want to do, and then you're on your way with your first family.
And it's like anything that you learn in a classroom setting. There's only so much you can know from the teacher, the instructor, but once you go out there and you work on wishes, you will get better and better at the job, as a volunteer position.
And if you,
And if you listen to this, please donate to us.
Autistic child in verbal capacities, I do know of children like that.
Yeah.
There's some that speak too, but.
Absolutely. So we cover that a little bit in training, and then our national office has also developed some tools and resources for like online sessions where you can learn how to work with children who are nonverbal and really how to interview the parents to ensure that they're expressing what their child's wish is.
Okay. How about sign language? There are people who have sign language.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, being in New York, our kids are very diverse. Our families speak several different languages.
Yes, that's the other thing.
Absolutely. So Spanish is our second highest need language, followed by Arabic, Cantonese, Mandarin, sign language for sure. So if you know anybody, if you yourself speak a different language, please feel free to reach out because we are always in need, and those are the
That's a
children
really
that
good point. You guys are, you know, pillars in the neighborhood,
Again,
in the
if
community.
you want to donate,
And
please check
whether
with
or not
us.
you guys want to be volunteers, you probably are able to spread the word and find other people that might be interested in hearing about a volunteer position. So you you can also keep that in mind. Another way to help the organization is when you're in a situation and it could be a potential volunteer, you know, connect them to the organization and maybe say something that would help that conversation get going.
I was just wondering, I wasn't sure if you really covered this before. I know you said you go and you do an assessment, but is there a financial income cap for that family, for a a family that has lots of money might attempt, as I've seen with many other programs, to get,
Yeah.
a wish
Mhm.
when they could probably afford it themselves. So is there a financial assessment that's done?
There's not. The beauty of Make-A-Wish is that if
It
a
doesn't
child
matter.
fits the age
That's
criteria,
correct.
they've never had a wish and they have a critical illness.
That's correct.
It's
So
their
critical
choice to
illness
choose a
is the
wish.
key.
It
Yes.
doesn't have anything to do with the financial ability of the
Right.
family. or
No,
anything.
it's about the child, always.
It doesn't
Right.
matter if the child's here from a different country, we don't look at anything. We simply just want to grant the wish for that child.
And something I mentioned before, which I'll reiterate, some of the experiences that the child gets in their wish is something that they wouldn't be able to buy, right? Like for instance, the most common wish is Disney, right? So there's a special part of the park, right?
I actually got to go down a few months ago. It's called Give Kids the World, and it's a village off-site from Disney. And it's just this really special place where you can only stay there if you're referred through Make-A-Wish or a few other wish-granting organizations. So it's just full of families and kids that are facing a challenge, and it's a safe environment for them. They have special accommodations. They provide them with food and attractions and movies and all these sorts of activities. So it isn't just a wish to go to Disney
Yeah.
World. There's much more to it.
So let me say something else about what you get out of the wish granting experience as a volunteer, because it's hard to convey it. So I'll try. But when you're in the room, the family and the child looks at you as though you're granting the wish. So you know inside that you're just the liaison, you're just the volunteer that's meeting the family,
Mm-hmm.
but they're giving you credit for the whole wish, right? Harry,
Yes,
you get
correct.
that too?
Yeah, I mean, that little boy, Joey was something else, and he was all over us. Yeah, I mean, we were like and when we came back to tell him he met us at the door, coming in, come in, he was just a spark. And his father, on our first visit, because we were talking about the energy he had, showed us pictures of what he looked like when he was at his worst. I could not, like I'm trying to play with him, but my eyes were welling up. It was incredible, so, and Joey thinks I did it. So I'm cool because I sent him to see. I'm like that, you know what I mean?
And it is not the easiest thing in the world to be in front of a sick child, but some of the kids are more visibly ill than others. Sometimes you'll be in a home, and unless someone told you that they were sick or they had just gone
That's the
through
way he
an
was.
illness, you really wouldn't know that they're sick. But the biggest reason that I'm a wish granter, a volunteer wish granter, is that time that you're in the house for that hour or two. It's an amazing experience, and yeah, I just don't have the words for it. I don't know if you want to say anything about your experience in the house.
I totally agree with you. I actually had a little boy, Royce, who's here from Brooklyn. I met him over 3 years ago. He was 4 years old. He was receiving dialysis at SUNY Downstate, and he was just in the thick of it, but he was too young to really understand what a wish was. So we had to pause and wait some time. And then luckily Royce got his liver transplant, or his kidney transplant, which was amazing. So 3 years later, after first meeting him, we go back and we discover what his wish is, which is to go to Disney World. But Royce's family was going through a really difficult time. Mom and Dad were at odds. Royce was living in a shelter. We had to work with the shelter system to save their spot there so he could go on his wish and return back there when he was finished on his trip. But the look on his face and the joy that he had and all the photos that Mom sent to us throughout his experience was just something that, even though it took me 3 years to get there, it didn't matter to me. It was just the most amazing thing to be able to provide that for him and his family. So I agree with you. Did you have a question?
Yeah, a couple questions. Is there I'm sure I came in late, I don't know if you said that there was an age limit? What is their age limit?
So to be referred to Make-A-Wish, the child has to be over 2.5 and under the age of 18.
Oh, okay.
And what is the percentage of, children between the younger category versus the older category?
I would say it's kind of a mix, because kids are diagnosed at all different ages. So, you know, with an organ transplant or a cancer diagnosis, it's kind of at any time. With children that have a more chronic illness like sickle cell disease or cystic fibrosis, they're diagnosed when they're young, but they might wait until they're a little bit older to have their wish. So, I don't think there's a hard delineation between the two groups.
How are we doing on time?
We're doing well on time.
Yeah, one of the things, I just wanted to point out to, at this juncture, Deb, you were talked about before you got here. Kelsey acknowledged that you had, that's the Deborah.
Hello. Thank you so much. We really appreciate everything you and everyone here has done for Make-A-Wish. And
My pleasure.
we're celebrating Harriet and her work and the community council on January 24th.
Oh, yes, please tell us about that,
Yeah.
especially him.
If I can say something before we get into that, we're at 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, yes.
7-Eleven.
Yes,
Oh, come on, let's get
yeah.
that, come on, more. All right, come on, let's get to 1,000.
Because I'm putting it on Facebook.
Yeah, let's go to 1,000, come on.
His name is Sal
Yeah, I got that.
Razavi.
Sal, you have a
R-A-Z-A-V-I.
question in the back.
Yeah.
How would we be able to get you to come and speak to other groups? Because Harriet's on fire. for
She
this, and I would like to assist in that, and I do belong to another organization. I would have to check with the board itself. I'm on their board, but the people in charge, there are young people who work in after-school programs. These are trained educators. They work in the school system and also after school. These people might actually be ripe for the picking. So
I would
this, I will check it out, and then I can speak with Harriet. She can contact you if I can set something up where they can also perhaps
Absolutely.
put it out to their, all their employees, basically. I'm
Absolutely.
sure there are people there who they all work with children.
Sure.
And they would love to do this.
I think that's beautiful. Thank
Please
you,
don't
yeah.
forget January 24th.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, January 24th.
Hold up.
January 24th, it's going to be our 3rd annual Brooklyn Make-A-Wish Day. We got a citation from the president, Eric L. Adams in Brooklyn, and it's a day for Make-A-Wish of celebrating all of the work that's been done by the council. So improving the volunteers, reducing the wait time, more awareness, and really just supporting the community and raising money.
And where's it going to be?
We have 2 locations that we're kind of working out right now, so it's either going to be at the Brick Art Center in downtown Brooklyn, or again at the Brooklyn Borough President's Office. So one or the other. It's going to be an evening networking cocktail type reception.
Yep, all of you all are expected with checks.
So I'll maybe ask Harriet to send some more information around. We have sponsorship packages, we have in-kind donations, we have just a free invitation for all of you to come and support and bring your network and kind of just celebrate Harriet and the community council.
So that is another big way to help the foundation if you're interested. So it's January 24th. In-kind donations, showing up, making donations that day, spreading the word. It's Make-A-Wish Day in Brooklyn, right?
It is, yeah.
So it's Make-A-Wish Day in Brooklyn, January 24th.
Meeting other
And
Wish
for
families,
those of
Wish kids.
And for those of you online, the Women's Council of Realtors and the Brooklyn Board website is waiting for you.
Any other questions, comments, things you want to know about Make-A-Wish?
I think you guys all did really well with the donations
Yes.
just in this room right now. It's really incredible.
It's beautiful.
Are, for the wishes that are in Brooklyn, like the young one who wanted to help feed the poor,
Yeah.
are the volunteers ever able to assist with that wish? I mean,
We
I
were
think it's
there,
hard in-
volunteers were
Absolutely.
there. I was there. In fact, I'm gonna marry him. I'm gonna wait. He's 8 years old, and I want to tell you, while we were doing this, they had a place where they announced to the people, you know, who was sponsoring it, and so they had him in front, and he was standing there, and he saw someone come in the door. He tore across the room to assist that person. He didn't care about being announced. He just wanted to help somebody have some oatmeal. Yeah, he did. Sebastian, I mean, if you got some young girls, you might want to try to compete with me, but I doubt it. I'm married.
Yeah, there is other ways to help in addition to being that volunteer wish granter. Like there was a girl that wanted to be famous for a day, so they asked for volunteers to come and act as paparazzi. There's shopping sprees, so sometimes they want a volunteer to be with the family as they go to different stores.
I'm in for that.
They'll get that one.
I'm in.
So there's other ways to kind of assist the wish, and maybe Kelsey could say a couple words, but we grant a lot of wishes in Brooklyn and in the city as a whole, but that's us going into the house and understanding the wish and granting it. But it's it's an international foundation now, so sometimes the wish involves the child coming to New York, so that's also another way that we help, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Last year, our chapter, so the 5 boroughs of New York City, Nassau County, and then we're actually also affiliated with Buffalo and Rochester. We granted over 700 wishes. And then we had about 250 wish assists, so those are children coming from out of state, different countries that want to have their wish take place here in New York. So we do need volunteers to help out with that as well, kind of be a guide or an escort. So whether that's to go to Saturday Night Live or to go meet the Yankees or whatever it is, we definitely need volunteers for that as well. But if you were to do it locally, there are sometimes opportunities.
You said you're also affiliated with what?
Buffalo and Rochester, Western New York, yeah.
So it's officially the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The chapter is
Metro
New York and Western New York.
Okay, can we get an applause and a hoorah?